So the question is, should you have a plan B? And I will just basically say a big fat no. But why? Why is it that you shouldn't have a plan B? Because one thing about the business is that if you're not selling Pokemon cards or Voltron cards or if you're not, into an outdated business, and you know that this business aligns with something you love, you got to go full speed ahead. And a lot of times, if you have a plan B when you're starting something, it kind of gives you that comfort zone where you feel like, maybe I don't need to go hard on this business. Because if I don't go hard, I'll always have something to fall back on. Now, I'm not saying to get out there with no cushion or something like that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that you have to believe 100% that the business that you're going after is going to work, right? So if it's not outdated, if that's what you want to do it. Because, look at it. A lot of people, we have a lot of examples of people who went hard. I went hard. There was people who went homeless to start their business, lived out of their car. They said, I would rather live out of my car and not work a job, and I'm going full speed ahead. I've made sure that this thing is going to work, right? So if you know your audience, if it aligns with what you want to do, and when I say what you want to do, what you love doing, not just because, so many of us are tied in this thing for the money. I just want to say this, that if you do that and you don't get money for a year or 2 years, that's kind of insane. Because I was watching this TV show about this guy who created fat heads. And what it is this sunglass company that he had a fat head, and he went to Vegas, and he would always have those glasses that will leave an imprint on the side of his head. So he said, look, nobody's out there making glasses for people with bigger heads. So what did he do? He put his life savings up, and he didn't receive a paycheck or any payment whatsoever for about 4 years. Now, if he would have been motivated by money, he would have gave up a long time ago, because all he would have been worried about is, I'm not bringing anything in. I'm not bringing anything in. But he said, I want this to happen, and he gave it his all, and he went for it. And that's what you have to do, right? And then a lot of times, too, is that once you start these things, don't do this. Don't go out and talk to people who don't know anything about business, who live in fear, who would tell you their thoughts like, well, I don't know if I would do that. That's too risky. This is why they work jobs, right? So this too risky, of course it's going to be risky. That's how people make it. But if you thought this out and there's a demographic for what you're trying to do, because as an entrepreneur, we are problem solvers, right? We find something that's not in our community, or it's a wide open space, or if it's something that we can profit off of, and hopefully, like I said, it's aligned with something we love doing, then you can do it, right? So you got to stay away from the fearful people, because a lot of times, especially when you don't have any success at the moment, they're just sitting there waiting like, you don't have anything yet? Because they're getting their paycheck every 2 weeks. They're getting their money every 2 weeks, but you got to ignore that. Sometimes you have to just kind of go away by yourself and tune everyone out, right? And then understand this, that entrepreneurship is like a roller coaster. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. And a lot of times it's always like that. But you have to understand that when you have great, great, great months, and then when you have kind of mediocre months, you come up with something where you're definitely not living above your means, where if you do have bad months, that it kind of basically carries you on, right? So if you're a person that has bad nerves, high blood pressure, it's going to test all those limits, right? Because that's just what business is. It's not this paycheck type lifestyle all the time. So that's my philosophy on the plan B, is don't have one. Go full speed ahead and make it happen, right? Because the thing is, of course it's going to be scary. Of course it's going to be risky. But you have to make sure, and you have to stay in it far more than 2 weeks, that whatever you're going to do, that you're going to give it your all and try. You're going to learn all that you need to learn. You're going to learn about the marketing. You're going to learn about how to get customers in. You're going to learn about all those things. So I just wanted to give a quick tip on that, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing great, and I will see you at the next video. Take care.